see, this is just so some of you guys know, I don't know if you're really familiar with some of the epoxies, but this is what it looks like when it's set up. If you guys ever did ambers with the kids or projects like that, you know how you get the prehistoric times, they call it an amber. It's like a sap that's petrified and it's got a bug in the inside of it or something like that. This would work great with that. And all you'd have to do is take the epoxy and maybe mix it with some food coloring. Put a little orange dab or two of food coloring in because it already has a little bit of a tint to it. And you solid right up. The bad thing is you know, this is pretty expensive and it only comes in 2 different sizes. I have the biggest size, so hopefully it'll last me a long time, but just show you what the epoxy kind of sets up like for knives. So that's what it looks like. And it's a shame because I didn't need that much to do this, but you got to mix up the exact measurements. So let's see how this turned out. Oh, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope this turned out okay. I've never done this one before, so I've never gotten this fancy. I know the one I did with the mahogany and the ebony, that was a pain in the butt. And then I did one a long time ago. It was my third knife I made. It was for my dad. And I did a two-tone as well with some liners. And that was a bit of a pain in the butt too. So, but, okay. It's all kind of shifted slightly. But I think I left myself about, I made it about 1 1/8 I think. And so I gave myself plenty of room for a little bit of, because it kind of slipped a little bit. I tried to sort them as best as I could, but it seemed like it still shifted slightly. They should still shifted a little bit, and but it looks like they're tight. There's no gaps between it. I had good pressure going this way. It's just they got misaligned, of course, and it looks kind of off because some of the liners are longer than the others, so they kind of give you an idea that maybe something's crooked. But ultimately, I'm not worried about that yet. What I'm going to do is I got to rip this down right in half. I'm going to try to do this on the table saw, perhaps, and the table saw seems to give me a better cut, but the caveat is no matter what I do, I have to have a smooth side. So I'm going to have to take one of these sides and sand it down, or at least 2. I'm going to have to do like the bottom here, and then I'll have to do a side. I'll do the bottom in this, just to smooth it out a little bit so it's got an even profile. So I'm going to run it across the fence and the top of the table saw. So this is over 1 inch wide. And the scales, I like 3/8. I really would like if it's a 1/2 inch on both sides, but that doesn't really happen. I usually start with 1 inch wide material, I rip it down, and I've got more than enough to do my scales on both sides. And that's the same case for this. So it looks a little small right now, but it's going to work out good. And like I said, it's already, like, it's a little bit bigger than what the Cocobolo was. So I'm going to clean this up, and we'll rip it down and see what happens there. Okay guys, you see I actually did all the sides. I got to think it'd probably be easier to smooth everything off as one big block than it would be 2 halves. So when I glue it, this will work. Yes, this will work. So once this works and I rip it down on a table saw, it'll be glued easier with the Cocobolo. So that's why I just did all of them. But you got to be careful, it gets hot. That's why I was taking it off. I put it on a table, I dipped it in water, just blowing out a little bit. It gets quite warm, so you got to make sure it doesn't overheat too much. Epoxy might lose its adhesion. So we'll take it over to the table saw here and we'll cut that up. Awesome. Sorry, I went ahead and I muted while I was cutting that because, oh, it gets loud. So I just threw a little bit of a song in there for a second, or just sped it up or did whatever on my editing process here. But this is cool, it worked. Look at this. Let me get you down here. Look at that. Oh man, now I'm going to sand it slightly. Once it's sanded, it's just the marks from the table saw. But, oh, look at that. That is so cool. So the next step is go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut these. I'm going to cut them in half. I already squared them off. I'm going to cut them in half, and I'm going to put the liner in between each one, and I'll set this all up so you guys can get a better idea. Get a better idea of what it is I'm talking about. So, one second. Okay, guys, let me zoom you in here real quick. So this is what I'm talking about. So I did sand them down slightly to get some of the burn marks off. You can see there's a little bit on here still, but yeah, I wanted to get that done. So basically, what it's going to be is the Cocobolo, whatever these look like. They're all dusty. Everything's all dusty with my Cardabone now, but it'll look like that. it'll have this in the middle, and then the scale, the knife will be like that. So where'd my knife go? Lost the knife. Be right back. Okay, guys. Yeah, I was on the clamp over there. I was on the vise. I'm going to start polishing it up here. So basically what I'm looking at here now is I'll be taking this and turning it. I'm trying to get it to where you guys can see it good. So it's lining up the scales, where it's going to go and how it's going to happen. Plus, I don't want the seam of the ebony and the cocobolo to land where there's going to be a pin. So it looks like I'm going to be somewhere about like this, maybe even a little bit further over like that. I got lines marked there originally to kind of show me where things will be. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip these in half, and then I'm going to put this with this one and this with this one, and then we'll get a better picture of it. So let's get to that next. Alrighty, so this is the out on A, and this is the out on B. So, give you a general idea now, that's what it's going to be like. Oh yeah, that's going to be cool. That is so nice. Man, look, I'm going to get you in this and see this a little better. See that, guys? That's going to look cool. I think that's going to look really nice. And then the knife will sit right about in here, just like that. That is so cool. Yes, I love it. Yeah, see? That's going to be nice. But look at that cocobolo. And that ivory and the black liners. Now, I'll probably end up doing is, I'm debating about putting black liner right there and right there. I'm thinking about doing black liner like that as well. I'm thinking about doing black liner across the top, so there'll be a black liner going across the tapered tank. So yeah, so that I'm going to see how that's going to work out, because I'm really liking that look. I like the cocobolo. It's by far, I'm going to say it, and I've said it with all the other ones, but it's by far one of my favorite woods. But you can see now there's some cocobolo, it's kind of drab, kind of plain, but this kind, when you get this kind of stuff, oh, it's just beautiful. So the next step is I will glue these pieces together. These 6 pieces have to be epoxied together, so that'll be step 2 now. And then step 3 will be doing the liners. But that's awesome, guys. I'm so stoked about that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these, mix the glue up, put these together, and then call it a day on that. And then we'll come back tomorrow and put this together and see what that looks like. And then hopefully in that meantime, today is a Thursday, so hopefully I'll start polishing up the knife a little bit. And then I'll get these scales together, and then we can work on picking out pins. So thanks, guys. We'll catch you in a bit. Okay, hopefully this works. I had to kind of jerry-rig it a little bit because I was clamping all 3 pieces together plus the liners, epoxy, and they were starting to rise up. The pieces here, you'd clamp from this side to that side. That pressure would cause this part to bow up a little bit, so that's why I had to do these. But then I had to shim them up a little bit, so hopefully it looks like it's going good. I made the liners good. You can see the materials starting to line up okay with each other. You know, the scale pieces, everything's laying flat across the board. Everything's laying flat across there. I think I got some good even pressure. Whoo! Okay. You know, I did those last couple of scales, you know, like the ebony and mahogany, and I did that one for my dad a while back. If I got a picture of them clamped together, I'll throw it in here to show you what I did. And that was literally my 3rd knife I ever made. And then after doing the mahogany and doing my dad's, I was kind of whooped on that idea. It was really tough, and it gets pretty complicated when you're trying to, you know, do all the colors and the shapes and the liners, and then there's so many different steps. I'm really stoked. I'm really liking this idea. It's really looking cool. And you know what? I'll probably do more like this. The way this is starting to show out or turn out, I think I'm going to do more. I'm liking that. That's pretty neat. And again, this is new to me. Some guys have been doing this for a long time. So like everything else, it's a learning curve. And we see ideas and that helps spawn new ideas. And then we try them out and, you know, we fail or we don't. And in this case, hopefully I'm not going to fail. This is looking really nice. I'll probably still do a black liner on the back of them, but we'll see. And I even had this G10, and I even got some G10 here. It's a dark red, and I think that dark red, I think that dark red would really look nice with this Coco Bolo and stuff. If I run that along the taper tank and do some dark red to accent that might be pretty neat. So. But, and again, you know, and this actually helps people. I had someone send me a message about not having regular knives for sale, and I only had a couple of them. And back then I didn't actually have any. But it goes back to what I might have been saying earlier in one of a previous videos, is I get into this and I really don't want to start just kicking out production knives, just like, you know, cookie cutter type ones. I don't want to do that. You kind of have to in a way, because as a knife maker, there's a lot of us out there. And we're trying to sell our wares. What I make is uniquely different than some other knife maker will make. And a lot of guys do have a tendency of staying really focused on very high end, like really fancy materials. And then you get guys that are just kicking out knives made out of like old files and you know, like wrenches and stuff like that, because they do blacksmithing, and that's cool. So there's so many of us out there, and we have so many different personalities that we can offer pretty much anybody anything. You just got to find the right person. And so hopefully what I'm doing is finding the right people. You know, 30 some knives later, it seems like it's okay, but again, I'm new at this compared to some other guys. All the social media stuff, everything's new to me too, so I'm just getting my name out there, just getting it going. So hopefully guys in my area or watching the videos, you see this, you're like, hey, I actually like that knife. I kind of like that. And there might be 3 or 4 other guys that can make that same knife, but then it's our metals. Who's using what? Is it 01? Is it D2? Is it 154 CM? Is it in like a 1095 or 1084? A mosquito on my camera. So anyhow, so that's the other thing that separates the knife makers, is the metals we use and how proficient we are in everything. So, all right, well guys, thanks. This is turning out great. I'll probably put this video out, and then I'll come back with another video showing what these look like, and then polishing the knife up and getting it glued up. And we'll kind of shorten it that way. So we'll see what this editing looks like. So, but if that's the case, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all the support. And YouTube, Facebook, MeWe, Instagram. That's awesome, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Please leave a comment. This sucks. This is awesome. Kudos. You're a dork. Anything. Okay, maybe not the dork part, but anyhow, you guys take it easy. Until the next video, have a good one.